Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I apply liquid foundation and giving you guys some helpful tips along the way. Now, getting right into it, two brands that I would recommend for those of you dipping your hands into liquid foundation is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation, which is an all-around good beginner-friendly foundation. I've been using it since I was about 16 years old, and honestly, I've never had any problems with it. It's about $38 Canadian, which is not the cheapest, but it's honestly not the most expensive. It does advertise for all skin types. Now, the second one is the Revlon Color Stay Foundation, and that one is about $17 Canadian, which is honestly a very reasonable price for that foundation. It does have two types, which the first one is combination / oily skin, and then the second one is normal / dry skin. So you just kind of have to choose the one that fits your skin type. And that's the one I'm going to be using today to demonstrate how I apply my liquid foundation. So when I first started using liquid foundation, I was using a dual fiber stippling brush, which looks something like this. And then I had moved on to a beauty sponge in the shape of something like this. But honestly, now I tend to use both on my face. I'll start off with the brush and then finish it off with the sponge, but you really don't need to do that. Either or will get the job done. It's just about your preference. But for the sake of today's video, on this side of my face, I'm going to be using the brush, and on this side of my face, I'm going to be using the sponge. Now, before we even start, you're going to want to prime your face with your favorite primer or your favorite moisturizer. I did moisturize my face earlier today, so that's what I'm going to be using as my primers to make sure that the foundation holds on to my face really well. But one primer that I would recommend is the Bare With Me NYX setting spray. That's a really good primer, or their Photo Loving primer. Now, getting started, you're going to want to clean the surface where you're going to put your foundation. I usually put it on the back of my hand, but if you have another surface, just make sure it's clean. So starting with this side of my face, I specifically use a dual fiber stippling brush. It just works great with the technique on how I apply the foundation. It really gives that airbrush finish at the end of the look. And so you're going to take the brush and you're going to lightly tap some product on the ends of the brush, and then what we're going to do is quick light taps on your face like this. Very light. You don't want to jab your face, you just want to do it light like a fairy if that makes sense. And it's really going to give you, this technique I find really gives you that airbrush finish smooth look. Just gonna apply some more liquid. Get around my eyes. Now you can use the streaking motion like this, but you just want to finish off with tapping it on the face so that you don't leave any streaks on your face. And you're just going to make sure you blend down to your neck so that it blends with your natural skin tone, so it doesn't look like foundation and then skin tone, which you know how that looks. Now, this side is finished. I'm not going for a full coverage. This is about medium coverage for me. And as you can see, it covered my face very nicely and smoothly. All right, so for this side of my face now, we're gonna be using the beauty sponge. Now, first things first, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to run your sponge under water for a couple seconds, and then you're gonna want to squeeze out any excess water. This will make applying the liquid foundation 10 times easier, and your sponge should grow in size, about twice its size once you do run it under the water. And just trust me, this technique works just wonderfully when you are using a beauty sponge like this. Now, I already put some on my hand and the back of my sponge, and I just lightly tapped it on. And we're going to be using the same technique we did with the sponge, which is light tapping motions on the face like this. Now, The sponge does feel 10 times better on the face than the brush. It's just very soft and fluffy and very nice. I don't know if that's just me, but some of you guys will really enjoy using the sponge over the brush, but again, it's all about your preference. Now with the sponge, you can't really do a dragging motion like this. This is basically how you can apply it. How you can apply liquid foundation if you are using a sponge, because if you drag it, you're just dragging away the product off of your face. And again, just light tapping motions all over the face, making sure you cover every area of your face, nothing is missing. All right, so there you have it. Now, like I mentioned before, sometimes I will use both. And it's basically like how on this side I use the brush. I'll just run my sponge over it with like the leftover product that's left on it, just to make sure if there's like any streaks left over with the brush, that I kind of smooth it out and clear it off to, again, get that airbrush look. All right, so there you have it. It's not complicated at all, and honestly, practice makes perfect. It took me a few years to find out what works for me and what didn't work for me, and kind of how to develop my own techniques. Now, if you have any comments or questions, leave that down below. And if you want to see more beauty tips, please hit that subscribe button. Bye for now.